What's up, my wizards? It's Dev, Mtg. We like it a magic down there on your YouTube screen, all the things, particle effects right here. But anyway, today, lucky you, you're just in time for a Core Set 2020 preview card. And you know, I had a whole bit planned out, like a spiel written down, if you will. But I've realized two things. A, the more I look at my card, the more I like it, and the more I realize what you can do with it. So rather than devote the bulk of the video to like some silly skit or something, I'm just going to actually spend some time talking about all the cool stuff my card can do. And B, let's face it, if I do some kind of skit, you're probably just going to fast forward through it till you get to the card. You're just going to read it. So let's be honest with ourselves. So let's go ahead and look at Gorging Vulture. This cool little core set common is 3 mana, 2 and a black for a 2/2 bird with flying. Yay, more bird tribal shenanigans. But when this enters the battlefield, you put the top 4 cards of your library into your graveyard. You gain 1 life for each creature put into your graveyard this way. Now this doesn't look like much. I'll give it to you. The first few times I read it, I was a little underwhelmed by it too. It is really simple design, and kind of like that. That's what core set's supposed to be, so kudos to Wizards on that. But it doesn't look like it does much. But the more thought that you put into this card, the more you realize it does straight work, not only with a couple of cards that we've seen previewed in core set, but also with some existing strategies. Now, the first deck I could see the Blackbird really singing in is Life Gain. The black-white Life Gain deck that not only got a brand new 3-mana piece the other day, but it's always had a Johnny's Pride mate for the last, I don't know, couple of years, and it's going to continue to have it post-rotation. So this could be a decent 3-drop for any Life Gain deck that's looking to just grow its Pride mate or similar cards. This also goes a long way to fuel any undergrowth strategies you might be trying to play. Really powers up cards like Necrotic Wound and eventual Izonis too. And apart from how it works in life gain and undergrowth strategies, you have to ask yourself the question, is it possibly pauper playable? It is a common, even though it doesn't look super playable in terms of stats or anything, it does help you a lot more consistently get to cards like Gurmag Angler. That's one of the most important cards in pauper. So again, you at least have to ask yourself the question. But the existing strategy that I'm most excited to try it in is another one of the most obvious. If you're a self-mill player in Standard, take a look at the Blackbird, because all your life, you were only waiting for this moment to arrive. I hope you have heard that song, because if you haven't, then you don't get half the jokes in this video. But all apologies for that, but still, it's pretty self-evident that in self-mill, this is a fantastic card. Goes really well on curve with Wall of Lost Thoughts on turn 2. And hey, maybe you're able to Stitcher Supplier on turn 1. At that point, you're really milling the crap out of yourself, sir or madam. And in that same self-mill deck, this helps you hit your Narcomoebas and your Creeping Chills. Nothing wrong with that. You know, we're at like a critical mass of creatures right now for the self-mill deck. And that deck actually kind of does need creatures. With Stitcher Supplier, Wall of Lost Thoughts, and now this to help block in the air, which the deck did not formerly have, you actually have a pretty good force of blockers to help you get later in the game, and that's exactly what that deck wants to do. And it needed another strong 3-drop. It's already got Ashiok, and you're gonna play Ashiok in your self-mill deck most of the time, obviously, but the self-mill deck especially needs a little bit more help in the 3-drop slot. And again, this puts a blocking body on the battlefield for you that might gain you a life or two, and there's nothing wrong with that. And it's self-mill that helps you win the game. That's what you're trying to, that's the whole point of your deck. So I actually really like this card in the 3-drop slot for self-mill decks, and I hope that it helps propel them into actual tiered status. It's possible. But like I said, this card doesn't just work with existing strategies. There's also brand new cards this pairs really well with. Over the weekend, haven't gotten to cover it yet, but we saw Embodiment of Agonies, which I actually think is a really cool card that can scale to huge degrees over the course of longer games. It makes a great top deck. I've got a lot to say about this card, but let me just state the obvious here. Gorging Vultures works pretty well in the same deck with this card, because you're putting 4 different casting costs, possibly up to 4 different casting costs in your graveyard with a Gorging Vulture, and then once you play your Embodiment, well, it's really huge, potentially at least, so these cards actually go really well alongside one another. But an even better interaction this has with a newer card is Blood for Bones. I was super excited about B&B when it got previewed the other day, and I made no bones about that. It was the, top card, the last card I talked about in that video that day, and I was just super jacked about it. And part of the reason for that is because I knew that Gorging Vultures existed. It took a lot not to say that, oh, my preview card's going to go well with this, but you can't say anything about your preview card whatsoever. So I couldn't even do that. I just had to sit on it and have the knowledge that this card existed and curved into Blood for Bones really well. Just flip over any big creature when you play this on turn 3, and not only will you gain a little bit of life, but you'll have a body to sacrifice 2 Blood for Bones on the next turn. Nothing wrong with any of that. So these cards go extremely well together. And if you're building a black-based Blood for Bones deck in Standard, you're trying to reanimate huge stuff, this actually might have a shot ending up in that deck. You need sacrificable bodies and you need to put cards in your graveyard. This does both. So again, just really innocuous looking card here that's easy to read and just toss in the bin when you first see it. But I think it does have a lot going for it, and it can do an awful lot in a couple of different decks in the upcoming format. If nothing else, Self-Mill and Blood for Bones, the card looks very, very good in. It looks like it could tie a bunch of different synergies together. So watch out for this. I actually think the card might have some legs. Missed an opportunity to joke there. I probably should have said I think the card has drumsticks. But anyway, I think that I'm done for this one, but that doesn't mean I'm done talking about cards for the day. There's going to be a bunch of new cards spoiled in just about an hour as I record this, and there's already a few cards we missed from over the weekend. So don't worry, I'll get back on the airwaves in a couple hours here. But for now, let me know how you felt about this card. Is there stuff that I didn't even get around to pointing out in this video do you think this card might actually be able to pull off in Standard? Just let me know down there in the sideboard, the comments section, sound off. And if you want to check out any of the singles or booster sealed product, anything like that from this core set, then just hit that first link in the description. Go on over to TCG Player and check out them low prices, cuz. Just tell them I sent you. They'll let you right in the door. Don't worry about it. But anyway, I think that's it. Unless you want to donate to the Patreon, hit like, subscribe if you haven't done it yet for more things, blah, blah, blah. YouTube spiel. I mean, I got to do it right. But I think I'm done for now. I got to go ahead and start recording the rest of the stuff for today. So I'll see you guys on the other side in just a few hours. Make sure that you spread love and you be kind.